Do a little
Well,
salute.
yeah, we're back having a live show again. It seems like it's been it has been a few weeks now. And Pat, we got a lot to talk about today. New roster just came out. A lot of interesting names on there. A lot of names not on the roster as well. So definitely something we got a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, definitely a lot to dive into, and you're seeing the reaction on social media with everyone. Some good, some bad, right? We'll definitely dive deeper in and want to get your thoughts as well as we go through. But, obviously Austin with this roster, right? Pulisic and Reyna being big names, not on understandable reasons, right? With the injuries. I know with Chelsea, I think they mentioned he would be back earlier than
That was the hope.
What was the hope, right? So that's not good. And concerning now, you heard Tuchel saying this, I guess the EFL Cup or one of the other games it might be too early. And then obviously with Reyna, it's really unfortunate. So just hope those guys can recover quickly. And at least, it's just for injury reasons, right? Or we'll be, really up in arms with pitchforks at GGG's house.
Yeah, I definitely think both are injury related. I think that's pretty safe to say.
Yeah.
And Gregg kind of left the door open for them to maybe join this group. A little bit late. I don't know. I don't think that's really realistic and likely. Also, I don't really want to risk them for November. We got 2 more games coming up in November, so I mean, as great as it would be to get a half. 50% Pulisic or 50% Reyna, looking at the, long-term end goal, it's not a smart decision. So yeah.
We have the depth, right? I mean,
that's the hope. Although, last camp, we didn't look so great with our first, string guys. And obviously we had some injuries in that camp too, but hopefully going into this camp, that mood's changed a little bit from that final result and we can, get back on the pitch strong, Pat, right? That's what we're hoping for at least.
Yeah, those are definitely the goals there, Austin. I guess, with that, right, kind of going through the roster, right, and want to start positive, right, and some of the aspects here and the components. So I think just to start off, a nice mug, by the way, if you want to show that up.
Oh, yeah.
You get it on our merch store.
Yeah, branded merchandise right there for you.
Right. It looks awesome. It looks awesome in the back. Yeah. But, so I think just kind of, I guess, starting with the back line, right, and things I liked. I'm really happy to see Chris Richards. I know you and I both and the rest of the fan base. I mean, killing it, right, with our last YAA episode we covered at Hoffenheim. And, it's really difficult, especially with players going back and loan and then not really being kind of that full-time, right? It's not your home club. There might be some other players the coaches favor, but Richards is just dominating. He's bossing every component of the game. Looks very composed, Austin. So that is from the defending side of things. I'm really excited to see him, and I bet you he'll get some serious game time in this window.
Yeah, and I think having Chris Richards with Miles Robinson in this camp, hopefully we get to see them on the field at the same time. At some point in this camp. And also John Brooks is there too. So It really is like 3 center backs I have a good amount of confidence in. Obviously John Brooks last, camp didn't have the best camp, but we know what he's capable of. And, I think both Robinson and Richards are also capable of something similar as well. So for the first time in a while, Pat, right, it feels like we kind of have some central defenders we can rely on and actually kind of take pride in. It's been a while since we've had that. So it feels kind of nice.
Too, not to get off track, but Robinson, just going back to what he's been able to do, Austin, like came out of honestly nowhere from the national team perspective, in my opinion. I mean, I didn't follow him as closely as I should have with Atlanta, but just his rise, Austin, and now look at him. He is comfortably, right? There's not even a question that he should be starting, I think.
Yeah, and he supplies a lot, going forward too, right? He's constantly getting his head on balls on set pieces and constantly being a force, on the offensive side of the game, in those set piece situations. So it's not just, his defense that we love so much. It's that duality of his game. Yeah, I loved Chris Richards, seeing him on this roster. The defenders really didn't change too much. Looking at Shaq Moore, it was kind of cool to see him. I thought he had a great Gold Cup. The only thing right now is he's not really playing at Tenerife. So
yeah, that's right now.
Yeah, a little strange why that is, because he looks so good this summer. So again, I thought it was good to see him.
But yeah, for
Seemed
the
like,
for the most
yeah,
part too, Austin, and you know, McKenzie coming to form, which you talked about. Having Yedlin there maybe as a spark. He seems to be
yeah,
another guy who's kind of injury prone, so I don't know if we'll see him play full 90s a lot, but he's just a veteran presence. And then Destin Robinson, obviously, Anthony ending with an emphatic way, a huge W. For him, in that last game against Honduras. So yeah, not too many other changes or surprises.
Can I pivot real quick, Pat? And I don't want to get ahead of ourselves because we will talk about some players that we're missing on this roster, but no Julian Arrajo. I don't think this was a shock. I'm not going to sit here and say it was, but really just disappointing. Because I think he's someone that we could have called up over Shaq Moore. I think he's more deserving of Shaq Moore at this point, based on the season he's had in MLS. He's really done a good job with the Galaxy this year. It sounds like he's going to Mexico.
Yeah, that's what the rumors
hate to say
are.
it.
It's tough. Seems like
Yeah.
and now him, and who knows, right? With Gomez. So
I know. I hope not. Oh,
I know. He just made a huge move too, but now we're going down that
game
path.
changer. I know. Yeah. So let's steer it back on course. Let's look at the midfielders, Pat. We'll go through that real quick. Talk about some players we like to see. I think there's really, I should say there's 3 to 4, but really 2 names stood out to me right off the bat, and that was Weston McKennie and Yunus Musa. So obviously Weston McKennie, if he's back, and if there was no extracurricular things, definitely no surprise there. But when he got sent home from camp, we really, and I think we talked about it in our last live show, we weren't sure if he was going to be back for this camp or not. We weren't sure if Gregg was going to try and make a bigger point out of him for the long term and kind of use him as a way to cement himself on this USMNT team, or kind of put that all under the rug and call him back this camp. And it looks like he's done the latter, Pat. And I don't know. I'm happy, I guess, because it gives us a better chance, but it's definitely a little weird, right? Like, it's only a month since the things happened that happened.
Right.
So,
and I know there hasn't been too much release. It's been very tight-knit, closed to whatever the specific details, right? We know general stories, but yeah, I mean, from going back to Juventus there, it looks like McKennie's kind of played sporadically, right, here and there. And I think in this latest Champions League game, he seems to typically come on in the last 30 minutes or so. So he's getting decent time, but definitely fresh and healthy. And it looks like he's kind of, worked hard in training, kept his head down. There hasn't been too much, right? Especially with that going on. So, smart in his part. But like Gregg said, just he has to earn that trust back. So obviously excited, like you said, to have him back. But will we see him start right away? I don't know. If he becomes dire, though, not to say that's a justification, right? But without, Pulisic, right? Reina, obviously top players, and we'll have to see again another conversation with Adams, how healthy he is. I feel like you have to have McKennie in there, right?
Yeah, we don't have many playmakers right now healthy. So yeah, he kind of is key to what we want to do, and he's just one of those players that we need to have on the pitch. He just provides so much in those set piece situations as well, right? Which we've scored a lot of goals on recently. So yeah, it's so hard to have him in camp and not play him. But
yeah, but also
I don't know.
Another midfielder, Yunus Musa.
That's right. And Ken P says Cap Musa, which I am 100% on board with, and said, we should have did this earlier in the summer, in the Nations League, and gotten that out of the way quicker. But here we are.
Seriously, I almost forgot to, like, in between, right? And I was like, oh wait, we haven't cap tied him yet. Anything could happen. Oh. So you never know. It's tough because a player could have other influences, right? External factors sway him. We don't know what's going on, So he might have had a great time at the U.S. camp. So yeah, that's a must, absolutely. And I'll be curious again to see if he starts or not. What his role is, right? I personally think he should. I would love to see a McKennie Musa Adams midfield, but that's a pipe dream.
Love to see it.
I don't know. I don't know about Gregg, what he's going to do. So.
Yeah, that would be pretty fun. There's also another name on this list, Pat, I'm going to pitch to you because I know at some point in time you had a lot of affinity for him, and that's Luca De La Torre. So you're excited? You happy to see him? You think it's well deserved?
Yeah, I think that highlight video really kind of turned the tide there. No, I'm excited. I think of all the other ones that were kind of, again, we'll talk about maybe left off or kind of fringe. A lot of, some part of the fan base clamoring to see him again. I think this is great. And, even Gregg said, I think during that presser, right, I saw some quotes come back and talking about De La Torre and his impact, right, when he was last with the national team in camp, what he's able to do, those line-breaking passes, kind of be more direct and aggressive, right? You saw some of those bursts of energies, granted small sample sizes, right, coming in as a substitute, but he just offers another element of dynamism that we needed. And instead of just kind of playing side to side too slow, I think he could really change the pace and help break down some of those low blocks that we might come across during this window of qualifiers.
Yeah, and Ken P has a really interesting comment here as well. He says, if LDT, so Luca De La Torre, gets minutes, he should be super motivated to show Triple G what he can offer to complement this team. So all we've been hearing is that, Luca De La Torre has made decisions to basically put himself into the conversation for the USMNT, whether that was staying away from the Gold Cup to focus on his club career and make sure he was in the fold in the, starting lineup, for the whole season to help himself, for this upcoming World Cup cycle and also the World Cup next year. So yeah, I agree with Ken. I think he should be super motivated, and we're going to see a player that really wants to impress, Gregg Berhalter in this camp, which is good. It's good to have players that are motivated, reaching for, goals, things like that. So
absolutely. And I don't want to get too far ahead, right? So, stop me if I'm missing any other kind of midfielders there, but, some other kind of, exciting aspects, from the attacking side of things, right? With the forwards, you could say listed, our boy, Matthew Hoppe.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Troublemaker there, right? I don't even want to say troublemaker, but just someone that kind of has that passion, that fire, right? Has really settled into his club there. Sounds like he's doing great things, right? In training, acclimated very quickly. You saw that assist, right, against Madrid, and grant the scoreline was pretty rough. But nonetheless, he's getting some time there, and that's really exciting. So I'm really excited to see Matthew Hoppe a part of this group, Austin.
Yeah, he was someone I was really happy to see. Just love what he brings on the field, off the field. And was really excited to see him. Also loved Ricardo Pepi, right? Got to throw out a little shout out to him. And our boy Timo Weah back in camp, finally healthy, killing it, at Lille there. Had a great game over the weekend. And so excited to see
Aronson gave him a little, teasing him a little bit after that Champions League L that Timo's team took.
Hopefully it doesn't tease him too much, Pat. That's brutal, but exactly.
Yeah. And then look, from MLS2 right back from injuries, Zardes, just want to mention, I'm not.
Don't hate it.
Liver negative, right? Yeah.
Yeah, don't hate it.
Right? He has offered when he is healthy, right? He actually provided some goals there and some threats. So again, one of kind of Gregg's, right, staple, MLS guys, you could say, somebody that he trusts, right, and has, from a while back. So I don't know. I'm not up in arms about it, Austin. And again, want to get the comments and see what all of you think.
Send us your hot comments on whether or not Jesse Zardes should be in the USMNT roster.
What do you think about that, Austin?
Well, I think it's tough when you look at the other options, right? You had Jordan Pefok, not called up, who's probably in the best form of his life. You also had Josh Sargent not called up, which I don't know. I think for Josh Sargent, maybe this is a fair decision. And Jesse Zardes has been a consistent scorer, which it pains me to say that, in a USMNT shirt. So yeah, I don't hate it. I think it's fine. I feel like a year or two ago, I would be really up in arms about it. But right now I want someone who's capable of scoring the ball, someone who's in good enough form, which Jossie Zardes came back hot from his injury. So I don't mind it. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. We need goal scorers. We need some impact there, especially with the lack of chances there.
Ken P says Zardes is good for 45 mins. All right, well we'll get someone, I guess Pepi, in for the other 45 minutes.
Exactly. No, I'm excited. I think Pepe, especially with that last game, right? I mean, everybody's been talking about it, especially with that abysmal first half. Kind of made you forget about it a little bit and just focus on how amazing he was and turn things around. So, I don't know, Austin. I mean, obviously we can get into projections and things down the line. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't start. Um, this first World Cup qualifier. I'm saying it. I'm pretty confident.
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah, I'm right there with you. I think I think Ricardo Pepe's great, and Drassis Artis is another option as well. More experienced option that we can have on the team as well. So Pat, I want to pitch it to you because we want to get to some of these players that didn't get called up because there is some juicy ones out there. But first, was there any player on this roster? We don't have to take too long on this, but was there anyone who was called up that you were just like, why did we see this guy on the roster again? Why is he here? Do you have anyone in mind?
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
And please comment below too. We'd love to hear, what you guys.
I get it. I'm just reading
players.
through kind of the list here in case I forget anybody, but you could go either way, right? I'm thinking more the veteran, right? From a Tim Ream, which I guess we get at this point. He's kind of that veteran in the locker. I don't think he's going to offer anything in the game, really. It's more outside.
He's just there for the sentimental moments,
Yeah,
he's our,
I feel like you just got to expect it now, right? As well as, I guess, Roldan. I know some people, it's kind of split between him too. So
D-Mac and Ken both said Roldan. So
yeah, there you go. Again, so unfortunately, kind of him, Ream, Leggett. I could make more of a case for Leggett, right? I think we both could, but there's just some people that unfortunately we have to expect with Gregg's lineups going forward. So how about you? Tossing it to you.
Yeah, Tim Ream was the one I was like, all right, like let's figure out a better left back situation. We already have, a few other center backs on the roster here.
I mean, you left off Zimmerman, Miazga, some others you could say.
Yeah, that's very true. Paul Areola, I used to love Paul Areola.
I know we were big on him.
Yeah. And obviously we've grown a little bit, right? Our players have gotten better. We've gotten some better options out there that we can call up. So I don't know. Paul Areola was like, okay, like, do we have anyone better than him right now? But I don't know. A lot of injuries, right? So definitely plays a role in that call up for that position. So
and I guess somebody that could get behind the lines, right? offer that for the press, the energy, win the ball back to run behind. If he, again, like you said, if he doesn't injure himself. So didn't really have the greatest chance, right, Austin, when he kind of fluffed that one against Mexico in the Gold Cup.
Yeah, that was a brutal game for him. All around. So Samuel Cutts here has a great question, and Pat, I really want to pitch this to you because I know this was, another one of your guys that you used to watch a lot. So he says, would you prefer Sabi over Areola?
Oh, that's a good question. Being the channel of Young Americans Abroad, right? I guess I'm a little biased. I would want that one day. I don't think that in this moment of time, I don't think I would say yes right now. I think Sabi's been playing fantastic. I think you can make a great argument in case.
Back-to-back man of the match.
Yeah, back-to-back man of the match. But I don't know. I need to see a little bit more from him over the course of maybe the season. I know the timing's horrible, right, with the World Cup coming so soon. I don't know. I guess with the veteran presence, you could argue for Areola, and he's been there. He's been with the team in and around. And Sabi, another player, which, again, cannot compare to Scally, right? Maybe why he was left out. We'll get into that a little bit more. Scally in the left back or right back, which he could play. But, I think in this specific moment in time, October 30th, I would say not yet.
Interesting. Okay. Ken P here says Sabi's speed would be a killer as a late game sub versus tired defenses. So here's where I'm at, Pat. I agree with you. And I think that he hasn't been around this team or, I don't know. He hasn't proven himself at, high enough level for a long enough period of time. However, it's Paul Areola we're talking about. So, he's definitely a hustler, someone who's, gritty, likes to work hard. This comment says, Areola finds some space. I think he's a smart soccer player. So I think there's some merit to that. But it would just be really interesting to see, again, another player in good form, really the top player for his team on a team in Denmark that historically has been towards the top of the table. So again, I would say like, mid to high MLS, maybe some of those top teams over there, like Copenhagen, even Brøndby that Christian Kappas is on. Maybe they're like top level MLS team capable. His team is probably like mid to low. So if he's the best player on a mid to low MLS team, then I think there would be some merit to calling him up. Obviously, very hard to really figure that out for certain. But I don't know. With you, I think if we had a little bit more time, if this wasn't World Cup qualifying, maybe there would be more reason to bring Sabi up. But
you know what? I don't want to harp too much on it. Yeah. But Austin, great point. You just clicked in my head and what you brought up. But if we had time if he was in this Gold Cup, right? If he had the chance, Sabi, and he picked up this form, was in the Gold Cup and kind of did a little bit of things like, Hoppe or some other players that really kind of took their chances, then I would definitely feel a lot more confident in that question.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah. And Paul Areola was there, even though he didn't play the best. He did take part in that competition. So right. I don't know. Cool. So now let's move on to some players that weren't on the roster. So again, we're gonna open it up to you guys as well, and basically ask you, which players did you want to see, and we'll give our takes too. But basically, which player did you see or did you not see on the roster that you wish was there?
Who's maybe really motivated, seething when that roster came out. Maybe got a text or a call before. That was probably the case, especially if you're kind of like on the fringe, right? To find out via Twitter or anything like that, or roster release on the U.S. press release.
So Ken says Scally and Conrad De La Fuente. Yeah, definitely second both of those. We've talked about Joe Scally now pretty much all season, pretty much every episode we've done so far for this, season of YAA reports. We've talked about him, and he's been playing really well. Obviously started off really hot versus Bayern, was player of the month for Gladbach for August, and really has just, stepped into that team and not, given up his spot so far this season. So really impressive, can play on the right and, the left as well, like Pat said earlier. So really just an impressive start to the season. Definitely one to watch for the future, and someone who will be in this team. I think that's no doubt. But, when is really the big question, Pat? Is it going to be November? Is it going to be, next year when we play, our first qualifiers, I believe in March? Is it going to be, after that? When are we going to see him?
Soon. Like you said, Austin, he's so versatile, and his meteoric rise and what he's been able to do at such a top league with a top club. I mean, it's pretty unreal. And I mean, just another Gladbach player I was thinking of, but Fabian Johnson too, a while back.
Different player, but definitely, if he can, reach that level of talent, because in his heyday, Fabian Johnson was a pretty good player. And hopefully Joe Scally eclipses that, but wouldn't hate it if he was that type of, that level of player.
Right.
Conrad De La Fuente as well. Another interesting player who's playing pretty well right now. I think he's cooled off a little bit since that hot start, but definitely someone who provides, that dynamism that we're lacking right now without Christian Pulisic and Gio Reyna. So definitely a curious decision by Gregg Berhalter. I was those are
two big ones, Austin. Yeah, Conrad and especially the cases that you could see, maybe Conrad or Areola, or Conrad and so. There's other kind of options there. Curious to see what thought processes and decisions went into that. And it looked like even with this past window, right, at the qualifiers, Conrad really wasn't getting that involved, right? Like towards the end, I think the second or third game, I don't think he really. Did he play against Honduras? I can't even remember at this point.
I want to say he started the first game, but let me go back and make sure.
He kind of tailed off, I think.
Yeah, I think he came on as a sub in the last game.
Okay.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting to see his involvement in that camp, just because, going in, he was in, such great form. And then, yeah, he didn't play nearly as much as I thought he would, especially when the injuries occurred, right? You'd think, oh, perfect.
Yeah.
He's going to go in, replace, Gio Reyna, or, we're just going to put more attackers on the field when we were struggling to break down teams and, really take advantage of space. And that really
Yeah.
wasn't the case. So
Just imagine, right? Yeah, him and Timo and even Aronson, right? Just a lot of those guys wreaking havoc, and Conrad being able to take players one-on-one and isolate, drag players to that side. They switch it more quickly, right? That's just a recipe for success, in my opinion.
yeah, and DMAC here says, Roldan was subbed in over Conrad in the Honduras game. So yeah, definitely curious there from Greg. At least he made a sub that time.
Right.
With good enough time left in the game.
Thank you, DMAC. And what about another one, Austin? Let's see, you got some more comments there. There's another attacker in mind that I think has been left off and snubbed.
Another attacker here. Are you talking about Julian Green?
Ah.
Not Julian Green. Who are you talking about?
I was talking about PFOC, but we can.
Oh, PFOC. Gotcha.
We could talk. There's more. There's more to go through. So
very true.
Another great one.
Yeah. So Julian Green, obviously Greuther Fürth aren't starting off super hot in the Bundesliga this year. It's been a tough go of it for them, but Julian Green's been one of their best players so far this year, and that's coming off a year where he helped them get promoted, from the 2 Bundesliga last year. Really looked well for them all season long. And again, we just have been struggling recently to break down teams. Another player that likes to shoot from distance, which we don't really have much. So just think he could have been a really interesting option, maybe over a Gianluca Busio, maybe over a Luca De La Torre, and someone that could have been a more maybe attacking-minded player.
Interesting to bring that up, Busio. Someone, again, that team isn't doing very well in the bottom of Italy.
But he's the best player on the team, it looks like.
Yeah,
so
pretty similar.
Quite curious.
But yeah, I agree with you, Austin. I mean, Green has the World Cup experience, you could argue, back the last time we were really involved. He scored the last goal.
It's crazy.
Which is crazy to think about. But yeah, I think it would have been interesting to see. I think we were talking off camera, but De La Torre, the Green, I was kind of, if one of them was involved, it was kind of like a coin toss, I guess. Coin toss, excuse me, I'm getting tongue-tied. But yeah, I don't know. I'm happy to see De La Torre, right? And it's disappointing to see Green, but I think it would have been the same kind of, conversely, right? If Green was on it, I'm like, kind of yearning for De La Torre. I think we would have been kind of having the same conversations.
Yeah, Ken says I like Green. So, yeah. He's on board with Julian Green. The other one I saw here, too, was, we also had Gomez, Ken said. So I'm guessing that's Jonathan Gomez, who is in the news today from Real Sociedad.
Big move to La Liga.
Yeah. And honestly, he's, I think, now 18. So, he's another one of those young players. But he's had a really good USL season. Maybe an option at left back when he gets, more acquainted there, maybe in Europe. Right. Give him some time to settle in. But yeah, he would be, an interesting option, in the next year or so, I'd say.
Mexico's quick to congratulate him.
Yeah, I know. They're very quick today, which scares me. Another one that was brought up here somewhere, I think it was from Samuel again. So, he said with YAA and Areola injuries, would have definitely needed more wing depth. Conrad and Ferreira. I would have liked to see. So Jesus Ferreira, another player who, has played pretty well for the USMNT in the past, and was another player on that U23 team that didn't do so hot. But I don't think that was really Jesus Ferreira's fault. He's had a pretty good season for FC Dallas so far. He's been playing more as that support striker this year. Right. So maybe he's another option we can look at for the future. I think the biggest thing for him is just finding his position within Gregg Berhalter's system, because he's not a winger and he's not really a striker. So is he a number 10? Is he one of those, dual 10s or? Right.
I think that's the main issue. That's a really good point you bring up, because you're just not quite sure, where he would fit in with Berhalter and what he's trying to do. Obviously, I think Berhalter likes him, but again, he has somebody that's kind of on the outside looking in, right? From that March Madness bubble perspective, right? Again, like you said, it's interesting too because Dallas has Pepe at him, and still you can see kind of the issues that Dallas is having, right, with the coaching situation, everything else. But I think that's a really good shout. Someone I didn't even really think about because I've been so angry with PFOC being left out.
Yeah, we could talk about PFOC, but one final point on Jesus Ferreira. Maybe he's better suited, as a support striker in a 3-5-2. So maybe Gregg Berhalter brings him. We play 3 at the back and kind of throw him up top with someone like a PFOC who's more of that, poacher, right? Someone who can help, feed him the ball. Maybe that would be nice.
Maybe.
To see in the future, but. Yeah, come on, Pat. Now give me your PFOC rant. Come on. I've been waiting all show.
I know. It's just he is the most informed player right now. It's scoring the Champions League, scoring the Swiss League. Granted, again, it's maybe not the Bundesliga, right, or the Premier League. Nonetheless, I mean, PFOC just has that knack for net, and that's what we need. We need goals. I know, obviously, he didn't have the best, cameos or appearances, right? Kind of looks. I don't want to even say lethargic, but just not really coming back right in the build-up play, just kind of waiting for those balls to be crossed in, waiting for those chances, whether it's corners, free kicks, balls, from behind, and really these games were not good for his style, in this past World Cup qualifying window, you could say. It's just kind of unfortunate that national team. Game time that he had wasn't what we've been seeing, right, for a club, because when he gets that service, he doesn't need too much, right? It might not be the best ball in the world, but if there's a ball in the 6-yard box or in the 18, 9 times out of 10 he's just there off of a deflection, a header, anything. He's putting that ball in the back of the net, so you can't really argue against that, Austin. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Casanova here says it, best. Not the best league, but form is huge with strikers. And again, like you said, Pat, he's in the form of his life. And, maybe he doesn't fit our system, right? That's what you're kind of arguing, Pat. He doesn't really fit what Gregg Berhalter wants. He wants a striker that's, chasing after the ball, really pressing players. He wants them, tracking back.
Going behind the line there, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He wants a very mobile striker. And again, that's not really PFOC. PFOC's more of that poacher, doesn't come back and combine too much. Yes, he's an outlet up top if we want to push the ball along and kind of play off of him from time to time. I think he can do that. And maybe that's something we should look to do in the future. But yeah, it really is kind of, for lack of a better term, like a kick in the nuts not to see him on this roster because the dude is killing it.
Yeah. Last 10, 15 minutes, throw him in.
Yeah. And he's someone that made the switch to us, right? And really is committed to us, obviously now that he's cap-tied, but he's really made that commitment to us. And I feel like it's just kind of like a slap in the face not to include him. Like, obviously, Gregg changed some things up this camp, and maybe there's more behind the scenes, right? Like Gregg is trying to bring in more players who are, part of that group that he's always talking about. And maybe they're better people off the field or more, vocal people off the field. And maybe, PFOC's not the most vocal, which would make sense because, he's from France. He's not from, he wasn't born and raised in America. So I'm sure this is a very different culture than probably what he's used to. But maybe that's kind of his slant on why he called up certain players in this camp. I don't know. I'm just throwing, ideas out there.
I really don't know, Austin. It just really doesn't make sense to me, right? I mean, I get it. You have your guys, artists, you have some other players there, right? And it'll be fun, right? I'm just thinking of others like having a Pepe or someone, and then maybe a YAA or Aronson kind of coming in underneath them, right? Having some combinations or spreading the teams out wide, but I just don't see why you wouldn't bring somebody that is, goal scoring. I'm sure, like if Zardes, was scoring, 6, 7 plus in 4 games. Oh yeah, he's starting right away. So.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess we're probably gonna end up here or end the show here in probably the next 10 minutes or so. Pat, does that work with you?
Yeah. I think we got a few final points, right, to go through and kind of what our thoughts are for these 3 games, right? What's kind of what are some of the successes, the points that we need, especially with things pretty tight there, right? Obviously, Mexico, narrow score lines, but they're sitting pretty comfortably, right? So I'd be kind of curious to get your takes too, and how we go about this. I think the game in Austin against Jamaica, right, just sold out. And then I believe, is it Panama, then Costa Rica? I think I might have that.
Yeah, you're putting me on the spot, Pat.
I know, I'm putting you on the spot. We're playing Jamaica first. We're playing the Reggae Boys at home.
Yes, we're definitely playing Jamaica first. I know that. After that, I haven't looked far enough ahead, so I do apologize.
No,
Panama and then Costa Rica. Yes.
Panama, then Costa Rica. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. So what are your? Obviously want to hear from you all. What would you? We want 9 points, right? But what's kind of that success metric? What would you be happy with, realistically? You could say.
I don't know. After getting what we got 4. No,
5. We got 5.
5 points from the first window. 5 out of 9, which now that sounds not nearly as bad as it did then. I don't know. Jamaica's going to be a tough team, right? Like they're, now that they have some of these English guys on their team, they're dual nats. I think they're going to be a really tough team to play. So I don't know. I think that's going to be a really tough game, even though it's at home. I think that's going to be one of our more tough games in qualifying, especially one of our, most tough home games. But again, like you said, we should win these games. We're going to be favored in all these games.
Right. I'd rather play them at home first than go to Jamaica,
Correct. Yeah, I would say that as well. And then we go to Panama, right? That's in Panama?
Yeah, and Panama, I believe, has started fairly well. They're towards the top there. I think they might be in
1 win and two draws. Yeah,
not bad for them. I was honestly a little bit surprised. I would think that's a success in their eyes, right? And that's not an easy place to play. I feel much more confident in the Costa Rica game. I think Panama. I'm almost more worried about Panama, I think, with these 3.
Yeah. Are you going to hate me, Pat, if I say 5 as well for this game?
I'm up in arms.
I don't know. I feel so bad saying that, too, because I think Costa Rica is probably going to be the easiest game we play out of these 3.
I think we just have to chalk that up to a win because they're old. They had a great team.
They're old,
Their players are out of the prime. They really don't have too many great options, that have really kicked some of these other. I think Joel Campbell's still involved. Obviously, you have the legendary goalkeeper, which is fine. The goalkeepers can go a little bit longer, but some of those other players are just like, what are you still doing on the team? But
did Keeler play in their first round games?
I don't think he did.
Yeah, I haven't heard too much about him, so it leads me to think he didn't. But if they have him on the field, then that makes that game so much harder too. So,
yeah,
I don't know. So I'm gonna say I think I will be happy with 5. I think we should definitely shoot for 9, right? We shouldn't that's not my ceiling. 5 isn't my ceiling. 9 is my ceiling. And I think 5 is my floor. That's how I'll word that. So
I like that because I'm thinking ideally I want 7. I think I'll be very, very happy with 7. I think we take it to Jamaica at home. Yeah.
That's what Casanova says. I have to say at least 7. And he goes win, draw, win. So he's with you saying that Panama game.
I'll be happy with the away draw at Panama, and then obviously Costa Rica we should win. And then I don't know. I feel like we've had some success against Jamaica, and again a team that Theodore Whitmore really I like. I kind of hyped him up before, but he really has a team in shambles. There's a lot going on with the JFF, and obviously the players that are unable to, travel and all that craziness, right? They do have some quality, but Jamaica really does not have the chemistry down right now, and I think this is a good time to capitalize on that.
Gotcha. And Pat, you are a resident, Jamaican studying studying their culture, right, in college?
Yeah, that's right. Hey, maybe if they win, we wear our Jamaica jerseys.
Yeah. Let's see how that
Both
plays
have
out. Let's see. So Ken says 6 points from this window. Okay. Yeah. I think 2
it.
wins. Again, obviously we want to win every game, but if we could get 6 out of the 9 points this window, I don't think that would be the end of the world. He also says Panama is going to be a very physical game. Yeah, I would completely agree with that. CONCACAFery is going to be out in full force in that game.
Yeah, definitely.
He also says Costa Rica still has Navas to keep them in games. He also says USMNT 3, Jamaica 0.
So I like it.
Ken
Come on, the gate strong.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely possible. I don't want to be so like overhyping, right? But I think some of the players we haven't seen YAA, right? And obviously we have Aronson. Aronson's coming to great form still, right? He's picked it up, and again, not to knock like Zardes and some of the other guys, but even without some of our best players there, and we have the additions of Musa and then obviously McKinney back, we have some really good threats going forward to make some great darting runs from the midfield, some great combination play, a lot of pace on the wing. And Jamaica could get sloppy, right? They play a little bit differently than say your Panama or Costa Rica, right? They'll hit you on the break, but I think with kind of the chaos and lack of chemistry, we could really capitalize on their messy kind of midfield defensive situation there.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. We also have tactical manager in the house too.
Hey,
what's going on? Good to see you, Tack. Thanks for joining. And I agree. I think I don't know. I think we got to rely on the players we called up, right? Like at the end of the day, it is what it is. Injuries happen and it sucks, but we're gonna have to stand up and face these teams this window, with or without some of our better players. And with that being said, I think we're gonna find some players that stand out. Like obviously Pepe last window was the one that stepped up and really provided us with that spark in the final game. And I'm hoping we see several other players do that this window. Seeing Chris Richards come in and mature, hopefully in front of our eyes, and kind of take control of that defense would be huge, right? Like if we could get Pepe to come back and play really well again, that could help us out in solidifying our number 9 position. If we could get someone like Chris Richards at the back, solidifying, one of those center back positions, that would be pretty huge too.
Yeah, I think that'd be fantastic too. And Hoppe, I mentioned too. Obviously, we'd love to see him in his preferred position, right? But just being realistic with Gregg.
Texas coach Whitmore is worse than Gregg.
Yeah,
we love it.
That's why we're going to win. We're going to win that game. They're in complete shambles and chaos, and there's no trust and chemistry there with the team and the coach. So we'll kind of see what happens there. But I think Hoppe is going to be fun, especially the Panama, right? And even this Jamaica game, I think he's going to come out fiery, and I would not be surprised if he makes a huge impact with a goal or assist. Granted, if he's coming off the bench or if he starts, I think he's going to have some great combination play and be able to feed some of our attackers, and maybe a Pepe Hoppe kind of combination there would be exciting to see.
Ooh, yeah, that would be fun to see. Yeah, especially with Musa behind them too. Ooh,
so much to be excited about.
Yeah. And it's fun, right? Like that. These windows are going to be so much fun. Just going through World Cup qualifying. I know the first one was, it got us in our feels, right, Pat? We got a little upset, after the first game or two, but
I thought we were
still were excited going into the Honduras.
First half of that Honduras game, Austin. I was ready to explode.
Yeah. It was a brutal first half, but we rebounded. We got the points, right? We got the 3 points. And, we live to fight another day. So, may not be the most, pretty qualifying cycle, but hey, if we can make the World Cup, that's all we're here for. So,
one day we'll win it, right? 2026.
That's right, baby. That's right. Read the glass.
I got to get one of those.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So I guess, that's kind of, it for our live show tonight. We're going to wrap it up here. So appreciate everyone for coming out and watching tonight. We appreciate the support, and it's been fun. We love to do these. We're excited to do, a few more of them, next week for the games. So be on the lookout for that either before or after. And it's going to be, another another interesting qualifying cycle, or month of games, and yeah, we're excited.
Yeah, it's just fun. It's constant soccer, right? With the clubs, all the players going to Europe, and the transfers and everything with that, and then all of the games, right? It's just every month, it's Christmas every month, Austin.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's always fun to celebrate Christmas. So yeah, so thanks again, guys, and we'll catch you on the next live stream.
Peace.